Appreciate it. Excuse me.
Everybody take it easy.
Who's everybody?
It's gonna be one of those days.
Yeah. I told you I'm fired up today.
I'm turned up, all the way turned up. I'm turned up, all the way turned up. I'm turned up, all the way turned up. Come to VIP, you see me getting turned up. I'm turned up, all the way turned up. I'm turned up, all the way turned up. I'm turned up, all the way turned up. Yo, I keep it real, you keep it basic. Stronger than I look is the only time I fake it. Workout plan, nah man, you couldn't take it. I'm doing push-ups on your bed, butt naked. Caught up in the matrix, running from the ages. My free flow had me in the matrix. Putting this record out on every single station. Bring the out, I'm like, I ain't even say it. I'm on a spree, similar to Jason's. Your life I wanted, I ain't running, but I'm chasing. In your grip breaking, so you can be.
Wow, that's a way to start the show. Welcome back to Beyond the Journal. And we have a guest. Erin, would you please introduce our guest?
I don't get to introduce myself.
Oh, now you want to introduce yourself. Every other show, I get scolded for this.
Every show you make me introduce myself. Now you're skipping straight to the guest.
Say hi,
I'm like,
Erin.
blah, 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 blah.
Say hi, Erin.
No, I won't. Nope. See, no, you did ask me to. You don't want me to. Okay, so anyway, who cares about me anyway? I'm so excited because we have a guest finally, and we're kicking off year 2 with Coach Chris Williams. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here.
Yes,
Coach
indeed.
Chris Williams, you all probably know him. If you don't, you're about to get to know him, and you're going to want to know him. But we're going to jump to him in just a little bit. First, we're going to start off with the news.
Lots of news.
Lots of news because the NBA draft just happened, and we have a lot of trades taking place, a lot of drafts that happened.
And just for our listeners, our faithful listeners, this is going to be a slight departure from what you're used to. We're going to spend a lot of time on basketball. We'll call this episode Dear Basketball Moms and Dads. How about that?
I saw that you
like that?
Yeah, I saw that you already have the title.
I wrote that myself.
Oh, wow.
Thanks.
That was hard. Okay, so let's jump into, first of all, I want to say I really loved the Knicks going with Toppin. One, I love that he's from New York, but I thought that was a really good pick for them. Okay, fine, whatever. But listen, this is, so, my DMs, I was talking to some people in DMs, basketball guys, whatever, that we always, are talking about what's going on. And all of us we kind of liked it, but we all agreed, doesn't matter who you pick, you ain't going to win.
With the Knicks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a new regime.
So, I mean.
Oh, really?
It's a new regime.
Are you a Knicks fan?
I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm not a Knicks fan.
Good answer.
I'm a Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
Oh,
there
no.
it is.
Oh, no. Chris, no.
Welcome.
Well, you know what? Then I'm happy for you because you got Devon Dotson from Kansas.
That's
He did not get drafted, but they did sign him after the fact.
Yep.
He's super excited because he's born and bred Chicago. So he's super psyched, and I'm psyched for him. Although I'm not convinced, I love my boys. I'm not super convinced that he's going to succeed in the league. I really want him to, but I'm not sure.
It's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
But it's like that with most of the guys in this draft. And we'll talk about
that.
that.
Yeah, and there were no superstars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the whole draft, like, not to cut you off, but
it's fine.
It's real now. Like, it's AAU is out the way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Rankings are out the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now you got grown men that's saying, like, I'm going to play.
Yep.
Like,
Right.
And I'm going to beat you in practice every day. I'm going to put the extra work in. And while you're playing Xbox and 2K, I'm taking 2K shots in the gym. I'm watching film. So, uphill battle. Not just for Dev, but for all of the rookies.
Yeah,
Anybody coming in the league. Uphill.
These are professional men, and they have dedicated their careers, their life's time to being great and challenging other people who think they're great. It's different.
Absolutely, man. And that's why, like, I'm big on the congratulations, but the talk should really be, all right, it's really time to get to work now. Like, there's no time to celebrate. Like, you see these guys are having their press conferences today. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, celebration is
it's over.
How about Swiper Fox, $163 million? That's a celebration for a guy that didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not ranked top 5, 10 point guards in the league. $163 million.
But I mean, the kid is a problem, though.
He's a problem.
He's a problem. I really want to see him be successful.
Me too.
I like that speed.
How are we feeling about Ball and Charlotte?
That's special.
That's special.
That's an interesting setup. I mean, did you see his father's reaction during the draft? Did you see that?
Okay, so I have to talk about this because I'm the love and happiness and peace and all of that. And so I love watching the families react and all the tears, and I love to see them. Like, it's so emotional and they've worked so hard and it's so great. And then ball. And I sat there and they literally sat there. And then he was kind of like, so then Melo was kind of like, okay, cool. And his dad was just like,
I'll give you a ball story.
Okay.
I'll give you two. Okay. One is 2015 in Las Vegas. I'm coaching with the Dallas Mustangs, 17U. And we're in the big-time tournament. And we're playing against this team from Southern California that has 3 brothers. That's all we know. It's
right.
Like 3 brothers. One little small guy and 2 brothers. You couldn't tell who was older at the time, Jello or Alonzo.
Yeah.
But long story short, we played them second game in pool play. And mind you, my Dallas Mustangs team, we were like a big-time defensive team. And you got little balls, probably as tall as this little stand over here. He scores the first 8 points of the game. Basket hanging, a couple of like tough buckets in transition. I call a timeout. Anybody that knows me know I go 0 to 100 quick.
Yeah.
And my point guard at the time, Dennis, love him, great kid. I flipped on like, yo, hold on, we gonna let this little kid just like score and dominate the game right now? I went off. And then, we wound up pulling the game out. And then 3-4 years later, you see their like growth and development. Mm-hmm. And last summer while I was in LA, here's the second interesting story. The Ball brothers, they send each and every one of their accomplishments, rings, McDonald's All-Americans to their grandmother. Wow. They don't want to see it because that means nothing.
Yeah.
So it's to the point about the draft. It's like I'm saying, what the heck we celebrating for? Like, this is what we supposed to do. Now it's like, okay, you got this big deal with Puma. You got to show you're worth it.
Yeah.
You got drafted to Charlotte. You're the face of the franchise. You have to show you're worth it. But you have to have that mentality. Everybody doesn't have that. Like, you want to stare and look at your trophies all day. That's not doing nothing for you. Let me look at my McDonald's All-American jersey. Who cares? But once you get that in yourself, and they have that as a family, as you see, they're like
business.
Yeah. Business.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, they do fine. No, it is, and I get it, but he also has let's keep it real, because that's what we do. He has calmed down a lot and checked himself, but he has destroyed a lot of business relationships. I mean, the man couldn't even sit courtside at the Lakers anymore. They had to ask him to leave the building. He could not control himself. He also, although I feel like he's come a long way since that's happened, but he's done a lot of stuff, like his sneakers, like that whole thing. Yes, I give him credit for going out there and doing it and living his own way and, paving his own path. But he needs to chill a little bit. But I do love that. And you and I have had this conversation offline too, where we're not about the trophies. We don't care. You're 11. I don't care what you're ranked, and I don't care how many trophies you have. It does not matter to me.
I mean, when you look at it though, this is the third son, right? And he's literally been training his children from the ground up for this particular experience. So there was no question whether Melo was going to the NBA. It was just a matter of how long it was going to take him to get there.
Right.
I had my issues with him foregoing the rest of his education. But we also discussed that on this show about, children specializing and not just getting a general education, but they're specializing in specific areas. And when he set that up for Melo, this was the goal. So I think as much as I disliked his reaction, I could also understand. And I think if he were a little less pompous, perhaps we would understand as well. But it doesn't go well with the character we've seen so far.
Right. And I do, and to my point, I think he really has come a long way. I think now that he's been in that environment a bit more, and he's starting to act like he belongs there.
I was just about to say, act like you belong there.
Right, and I feel that from him a little bit more now than I have in the past. When he was so obnoxious, it was like everything was about him, and he needed the attention. So I feel like they've come a long way, and I feel like the brothers have also helped him be like, okay, chill, let us work. kind of thing. So maybe that's just my perception of it. I don't know, but there's growth there. So
No,
you
there's
know,
definitely growth there.
let's
clap
get
it
it.
up
Yeah,
for-
we'll give it to him.
and
I mean,
it's hard.
I
That's
want them to
hard.
succeed. I want everybody to succeed. Listen, they worked so hard to get there. I hope that they can do well. I don't know about Charlotte, and now they have Hayward. They just signed today.
Or how much was it? I
Like
wrote this down.
120 mil,
120, I think,
130,
yeah.
yeah, 120 or 130.
Crazy. Yeah,
120
for 4 years.
Yeah, 120 million. So they have
I don't
Hayward,
see it. I don't
Ball.
see it. I think he's past his time. And I think that injury really changed everything for him. And I'm sad to say it, but I think it's
But you know what now? Now you get paid for not just your production on the court, what value you bring
to the locker room.
to the locker room.
Right.
And the bench.
Right.
And the bench and the mentality.
Yes.
Exactly.
If he's getting that 120, they know even if he misses 30 games, he's going to be in the practice facility. He's going to be
Yep.
traveling with the team. He's going to stay the course. He's going to go to rehab. Like he's going to do everything in his power to show that, yeah, the 120 was for performance, but also for my value off the court.
Right.
And I think that's big. And, you know, he's still can make shots.
Oh yeah.
He can still play, you
He'll
know, the
knock down some
3-4.
shots.
You know, he's still a decent defender, good rebounder. So, you know, it's a good opportunity.
Do you feel that same way about that's why it's such a good pickup for the Suns to have Chris Paul? Because that was a big
Paul is
pickup.
Just like that's just leader, man.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Like any kid that
Always.
wants to be a point guard, like even if you have a 5-minute conversation with CP, like you just feel like, damn, you're a leader.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's even now he's towards the end of his career making $30 million because he's a leader. He's gonna play. He's gonna leave it all on the floor, but he's also gonna lead these young guys that's around him. So
Yeah.
I think with Dev, that's perfect for Devin Booker
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
They're already in
That's
the
what I
gym.
said.
yeah,
They're already in the gym working.
He's like, yo, Dev, here, you gonna average 30.
And
Yeah.
Dev's IQ is already pretty high. So
Yes.
now imagine how sharp he's going to be.
Sharp.
Just the way he's going to plan his body out, basically. Because I think a lot of people underestimate that when you get to the NBA, it's more than just scoring baskets and defending. It's about how can you make that body last not only for 82 games, but over the course of a couple of seasons and raise your stock.
And I'll give you one even better because that's a great point. How do you keep your mental game for 82 games? You know
It's
what I'm
hard to
saying?
stay locked in.
That's the challenge right there. Like I always ask guys, like anytime I'm around the NBA guy, like Manuel Mudiay, hey, E-Man, what's the toughest part about being in the league? He'll say, see, Will, having to understand how to guard pick and roll with each point guard, that's totally different in the NBA. I
Yep.
can't guard Tony Parker in the pick and roll the same way I guard a Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook.
Oh yeah.
But that's all mental though. Like you know,
Or
that's-
a Trey Young. Imagine
Trae. That's
you
my
know
guy.
going from Trey Young
Really?
to Russ to Chris Paul in a series of night. Like wow.
But that's why you gotta be a student. That's why a
Yes.
kid like Trey, you know, his dad Rayford, who I love their family, great family. Rayford Young, he played at Texas Tech, and he's always been with Trey. Like you got to think. Like he always knew Trey could shoot, Trey could score, but Trey, you're gonna be a thinker. Like you're gonna be a student of the game.
Yeah.
And that's where a guy like Trey, like, come on, man, you just come in the league. I was just 3 summers ago. You was doing AAU, and now you're one of the best players.
Killing it.
That's
Killing
not
it.
by accident.
No,
that's
and
not
I'm so
coincidence.
proud of him.
Me too, man.
Speaking of proud, what's his name got drafted? Wow, I can't believe
his
I'm
name?
blanking out.
New York.
Cole Anthony?
Cole Anthony. I apologize.
That's
Big shout out to the Anthony family
That's
and the
big
McGuires.
time. That's big time. That's big
The
time.
McGuires
That's
are
big
my
time.
people.
That's big time.
Big shout out to them. Just watching them on TV and completely different reaction to being drafted, right? And
Yeah.
even though his father was in the NBA, Greg Anthony, he's still he worked his behind off to get where he is, and you could just tell through all of that passion and all those tears to see them crying.
Yeah, that was
It
so
was-
sweet.
it was a really cool moment.
I loved their reaction. I thought that was the sweetest thing. I loved it. And his mom on one side, his dad on the other, the extended families, all
Yeah,
the siblings.
it was awesome.
It was really, really sweet, and definitely excited for
that's a
him.
great
And
moment.
he's going to Orlando, and Mo Bamba's down there. So
Yeah, that's a
he
good
was
look.
tweeting
Yeah.
already saying, "Yo, get your
Yeah.
plane ticket. Let's
Let's
go.
go.
We got work to do."
Let's get to work.
So
That's great.
that's cool too. I love the New York. I love seeing the New York connections
No,
too.
Did you ever run into Cole Anthony?
We did at St. Ray's when he had Moses Brown and Khalid Moore. That was a tough team.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a tough team because you couldn't get to the rim. We had Isaiah, Omar, Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
We could get to the rim, but Moses was just like, he wouldn't even have to really guard. Like, he would just sit in the paint. And then Cole is super athletic,
Yes.
Yeah,
strong,
super
smart,
athletic.
super competitor.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. He's a fighter, man.
He's a fighter. He's a lot like his dad. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
like from a competitive standpoint,
Yep.
he's a lot like his dad. Like, they lock in and they just be like, "Oh, we're in a dog
He's
fight."
he's literally like it's exactly what you want when you have a child, right?
Yep.
You should be the better version,
Yep.
if not your own version. You know what I mean? But he's definitely a better version at that position. I really like the evolution.
I
Yeah.
like also how appreciative and how vulnerable and honest he was in his interview because he had a really tough year last year at UNC. They had a tough year coming off that injury, and then he basically had to carry that team. I mean, and he put on a show, and he literally from jump till the buzzer, he went hard, and it never always. Most of the times did not pay off the way he probably would have liked it to, nor Roy probably didn't like it either. The whole team, the whole fan base didn't like that season, but he stayed steady. He stayed strong. He worked hard, and
Adversity.
so
He
yeah,
fought through it.
definitely,
And that's big.
And he
because that-
actually said that. He actually said he hadn't faced a lot of adversity in his life.
he hasn't.
He said, "I've been really privileged, and so it was the hardest year of my life." And I really loved that he said that. I really connected to that. I thought that was really awesome that he was so vulnerable and honest about that.
Yep.
And I feel like when you're able to go to that space, you allow yourself to excel and
you can
succeed
grow.
even more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can grow. That's your
Exactly.
opportunity to grow right there.
Exactly. So wishing him all the best and,
yeah.
sending the family lots of love. So that's
Definitely.
awesome. Okay. So
Are we gonna have a college season?
supposedly tip-offs next week.
Shoot, what's today? The 22nd?
The second.
21st? Yeah.
21st, yeah.
It's next week.
So are we? Is it going to happen? Because they're shutting down again. You know, we have the second wave hitting.
Right. So it's all up in the air right now. And I know, like, the Ivy League conference canceled. I mean, but
Who cares?
yeah,
I knew you were gonna say it. Who
no,
cares?
it's not about who cares. It's not about who cares. But I had this. So someone had this conversation with me about the Ivy League, and they're like, "Really? I mean, those guys are not like." Their goal is not necessarily to get to the NBA. Like they're hedge fund managers and whatever.
Is
and
that
so,
the only reason you play college ball?
No, I'm not
You're
saying
talking
it
from
is.
the Ivy League standpoint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
But I mean, nonetheless, though, we don't just play ball in college to get to the NBA, right?
right. No, of course. Please don't peg that on me. That's not what I said.
I'm asking a question.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
hostile.
I don't think that there was. Did you hear a huge uproar about it?
What?
No, it was
Did all the
quiet.
players go nuts? No.
No.
But the players would and do in the other conferences because they really do want to play. So we'll see. I know Kansas is, supposed to go to a tournament in
excited.
Orlando.
I'm excited for
I'm
it.
super excited. Are you
However it
kidding
looks,
me?
I'm excited for it because
Me too.
That's a lot of time off.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of time off where it's just like, even if there's no fans, if there's
I don't
limited
care.
spectators, like
I don't care.
The NBA showed us one thing with
Right.
that bubble.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you follow the protocols
Yeah.
and you make sure you do every step,
Yeah.
you can have a season. There's some hope.
Can we isolate the players to then have them traveling to and from bubbles, though? Like, do we have that ability? That's a lot of players
College
to take care of.
schedule is very tricky
Mm-hmm.
because there may be a time, and I know some conferences were talking about doing it, like
Yeah.
where you can have that bubble, like when class is done, like
Right.
classes may be coming to an end the next 2 weeks, and
Yep.
then you have that about 4 week stretch.
Yep.
Where it's only the students, or excuse me, it's only the players on campus. Where during that 4 weeks, you may have to get 12 games in though.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
me throwing it out there.
Yeah.
During that 4 week period, you may have to sit in the bubble and play a game or two, AAU style.
Right.
Hey, you might have to play two games.
I
in a
don't
day.
mind seeing that, though.
No, that wouldn't be
I
bad.
like to see players hungry,
I'm
man.
desperate for it. I'm desperate for it. Are you kidding me? I don't care what they have to do. Like, please
Kansas
let
will
it.
be in the Champions
You really-
Classic right now.
Yeah,
on the
you really
guard.
miss.
Are you kidding me?
You really
Against
miss watching
Kentucky.
Duke, huh? I get it.
Oh, man.
Stop.
No?
We're not even going to go
Nothing?
there.
No one?
No, we're not. No, we're not doing
Just
it.
me.
Anyway, so I am so excited for Kansas. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm counting down the minutes, and I'm just praying that they're able to play, because I know Champions Classic. Remember I showed you that.
I just brought up a memory.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, and so they were supposed to play in Chicago this year, because they go back and forth between New York and Chicago. So we would have been playing Michigan State. So actually, if they come back, I don't know if they'll redo Chicago or if they'll just come back to New York. But next time we would play Duke. So it'll be on again.
Yeah, it'll be on again.
So
I did win last time, didn't I?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm not even going to go there because
That was a great game in the Garden, right?
it was a really
great
good game. And honestly, it was preseason, so whatever. It's not that big of a
Preseason.
deal.
It was a lot of turnovers. It wasn't
preseason.
season.
I mean, not preseason. Sorry, not
No.
conference. I'm sorry. Excuse me, not preseason.
Yeah.
But yes, exactly. Thank you for mentioning the turnovers, because how do you have like 40 turnovers and still only lose by like 2 points? I don't know.
Wow.
It's just
the
not.
way you celebrate a loss is, boy. it's
Yeah,
just-
because losses are lessons, and look at how we started the season, losing by only a few points in the Garden, to then end up number 1 in all the polls going into March Madness. So we are the champions. So I don't care what the
I
score was at the
apologize.
Duke
Rock
game.
chalk?
So Rock Chalk. Hey,
Wow,
okay.
look at that. Look,
Did
Rock
you really
chalk.
just jump in? Wow.
And
Wow.
shout out to Coach Q, because
That's my
Coach
guy.
Q and Chris, they are friends. They know each other. They've been around each other in
And
this whole
Coach
basketball
Norm,
world.
Coach Norm Roberts.
Okay,
And
nice.
my guy, Jerence Howard.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like,
He's
he was
from
at SMU,
Chicago?
My guy, yep. That's
Oh,
it.
I'm outnumbered.
Coach Self.
Yeah,
no,
so there you go.
That's a
He
great
knows.
program.
He-
Okay.
They're
Got
good,
it.
solid coaches. Love them all.
Great man.
Great. See? Thank you, Chris.
Great.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad you're here.
Go
So
ahead.
more importantly, no, I'm going to go ahead, actually. More importantly, the question is, we all want to see college. More importantly, Chris, because this affects you greatly, will we have high school ball?
I think so. I just think it'll be different. I'm not sure when it's going to start.
Right.
But like I spoke to you offline, like a good friend of mine, Gerald Booker, who coaches down in Dallas in their independent school district, their public
Right.
school district, they had a game today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like at what is he at? Roosevelt now. We coach together at Emmett Conrad and with the Dallas Mustangs. But there's a good friend of mine, Glenn Smith. He's doing the Thanksgiving Hoop Fest next week in American Airlines Center. So it's hard for me to say no. There's no season unless I is really look into just the circle of our city. Like in New York, it's not looking great for right now. But I'm hopeful that, if our governor is looking at what's going on in Arizona, what's going on in Texas, what's going on in Georgia, where they're hosting games and tournaments, I'm hoping that he's at least looking and saying, okay, well, maybe we can get something going.
I just don't know what it would look like. I
just
feel
don't know
like
what it would look
we are so on top of each other in New York City. We just don't have the luxury of space that other places have. Even major metro cities and other places, they still have things a little more spaced out.
Field house, that's a great point.
You
That's
know
a
what I
great
mean?
point, like a field house.
Yes.
That's big time.
Yes,
Yeah.
and this is in terms of proximity, we are probably the most dangerous city. And so to put our kids at risk, it just puts everybody in a bad position, because it's just like with education, where the kids were being forced to choose between going to school and risking their health or staying home and risking their mental health. And now with basketball, you're risking your career, you're risking your mental health. Some people have put their entire lives into this game, and to forego their junior or their senior year, it doesn't sit right with me.
It doesn't sit right.
And now, what do you do in terms of trying to make the case for a college? And shout out to my boy Arnell Milton, Coach Mega. He was basically, he posted something that said you got to get your film ready. You got to have film. But where are you going to get film from if you don't already have? It's
what?
tough.
And then you throw in the part where you got fifth-year seniors, you got transfers that's eligible right away.
Right.
You have guys that get that year back.
Yep.
You have some that's medical red shirts. And, it's going to be a lot.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be real interesting, because now it's like, all right, you're top 150 in the country. Does that guarantee you're going to go to your dream school?
Nope, the pool is packed now.
Pool is packed.
Yeah.
It's
We're
packed.
gonna talk about all of that, actually. I really want to, like I said, I want to
we
pick
got-
your brain.
Yeah, we got to get moving, because we have so many good questions to ask you. So why don't you start just by giving us a little bit of your background?
Okay.
your coaching, which we talked about this morning, but just if you can just run us through a little bit so people know.
Well, I started coaching in Dallas, Texas. I moved to Dallas back in 2004. And it's really sad because a scout for the Houston Rockets, B.J. Johnson, he just passed away about maybe a month ago.
Wow.
And one of my mentors, my cousin Pat Sellers, he's coaching at UConn at the time. This is back in 2004. And they have global games that they host at SMU. So Pat comes into town. He's like, hey, cousin, listen, man, I'm going to be in town. Why don't you come over to SMU and meet me? Rajon Rondo's playing, Big Baby, Marcus Williams, Rudy Gay.
Wow.
Against some of the best teams from around the country.
Yeah.
It's like a mini Olympics. So I go, and at this time I'm working with Citibank. I still have hoop dreams, but I'm just like, I'm working, average life. So I go there, and Pat's sitting with B.J. Johnson, the scout for the Rockets, and this whole time they're talking basketball, and it started like getting in me. I'm like, yo, I could do this again.
Yeah.
So long story short, Pat leaves 2 days later. He leaves me with the UConn polo and his pass. UConn polo and his pass, right?
Excuse
so I'm
me.
like, oh man, I'm going to the next 3 games, like So I throw my polo on, and that day I meet a man by the name of Tony Johnson,
Okay.
who was the director of the Dallas Mustangs, and we hit off from the door, and from there my career has just like taken off.
So no more Citigroup.
No more Citigroup.
Wow.
I started working at Woodrow Wilson High School in Dallas
Okay.
under Pat Washington.
Wow.
My first player that I ever really had my hands on and was really like impactful with was Anthony Randolph.
Oh.
He moves in from LA like maybe mid-November. And he and I just like click and bond, and we have a great relationship. My daughter's 14 now, so that was 14 years ago because she was like 2 months old. He would help me babysit, whatever. But long story short, he wound up doing 2 years at Woodrow Wilson, 1 year at LSU, and then number 14 pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah.
I stayed out with him in Oakland for his rookie year, which
You
was
stayed out with him. What does that mean?
Let me rephrase that. I was his guy. What that means is I'm 26, he's 19. So everything from making sure he's making the right decisions, making sure we got the right people around us, making sure he's waking up to get to practice, driving him to practice. And that just opened up a huge opportunity for me.
Okay.
So it was like I'm working with him, but me also being a basketball guy, I had the opportunity to go to practice every single day and watch Don Nelson. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And on that staff,
Wow.
you got Don Nelson, you got Sidney Moncrief, you have Keith Smart, you have the newest coach for the Houston Rockets, Steven Silas, who's Paul Silas' son.
Yes.
You have one of my best friends, Rico Hines, who's now a coach with Sacramento Kings, big-time player development guy. And you have Chris Mullin. And these are the people that I'm seeing
Regularly.
every single day.
Yo.
So it's like, I'm like, holy smokes.
That experience is crazy.
It's life-changing.
Yes.
It's life-changing because it opens up so many different doors. Like, so now you fast forward, I'm a high school coach at St. Ray's, freshman, JV, varsity. All of those experiences are just like flowing out of me. You know what I mean? And that's just from one chapter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just like one small chapter where I'm like, I come in with Anthony Randolph, number 14 pick. We do the crying thing at the draft. We were upset he slid all the way to 14, whatever. And I meet another one of my best friends, Anthony Morrow.
Anthony Morrow.
That's my guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I meet A. Mo, he just turned down a $350,000 deal in Belgium to bet on himself.
Okay.
Undrafted.
Yep.
He's staying in an apartment slightly bigger than this in
Wow.
downtown Oakland.
Wow.
Me and Anthony are staying in Walnut Creek in a $5 million home.
Oh my goodness.
But this was the biggest difference. It took us 45 to 50 minutes to get to the practice facility.
He was right there.
He was right there. That changed his whole entire life. Because now He's going to that gym 3-4 times a night.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How the Warriors repay him? Give him a full-time contract.
Wow.
Guaranteed.
Gotta
You
work.
gotta
man.
work.
Gotta work.
You got to work. So when people see me in the gym and I'm saying the work will show as a hashtag, I'm not just saying it
Yeah.
on a catchy thing. Like,
So that's the one thing I have to say that really stands out about you in my personal experience as, a mother to a baller and also just a fan of basketball in general. I know we've had several conversations and reconnected recently, and I felt bad actually. You showed up to practice and you sat and talked to me the entire time, so I felt bad.
no,
I was
it's all
like,
good.
no, but it was so great because I've witnessed you in action. I've seen you coach. I've seen you train. I've seen you do it. And you're so passionate and involved and dedicated, and your practices are awesome. Like the way, and we talked about this the other weekend, but the way that you incorporate everyone regardless of their age and how you really, really promote like a team spirit and like we work together here. I don't care if you're 6 and 16, we have to find a way to communicate. We are one. We are one when we are in this gym. And I love that so much because that's so important because everybody, especially now, and Lawrence and I have had this conversation a lot on this show, is kids today are so focused on themselves. Everything's about me, and my highlight reel and my points and my rebounds and my threes and whatever. So you instantly from the jump were like, yeah, no, we're one in here. We're going to work together. And you started the drill and they weren't working as one and you stopped instantly and you're like, okay, so I guess I wasn't clear. Let's go over this again.
Yeah.
Because we're going to work together here. So you're going to lay up and you're going to rebound.
Yeah.
And you're going to lay up and you're going to rebound. So we went through it all and it's such a great thing and your presence is just so great. But the one thing that I really, really loved about it was you put in the work and you don't talk a lot.
nah, you can't.
You don't talk a lot. You just show up and you do your thing. And then you have a line of people waiting to speak to you every time. And I told you, the one guy said to me, I saw him in the gym every single day with Mally before camp, after camp, when I dropped my son off. And I was like, I don't know who that is. I need to find out because he's going to train my son. And look,
Told me that.
and his son's in the gym with you right
He
now.
told me that.
Right?
Because that's like when you, like I've been blessed. And I tell you, like even hearing this, I'm like, I'm hoping the people who I look up to and who mentored me, they hear that and they say, damn, I'm doing a good job.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Even down to, not to get sad, but even Willie Howie,
Right.
God bless his soul. I went to his
Right.
wake and funeral today.
Right.
But even for him to be able to hear that from the heavens gates and like, oh, wow, like he's paying it forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the point. Like, that's like, it was great. Like, I'm not going to lie. San Fran is an amazing city. Like, going out every time with NBA guys and hanging out with Steven Jackson and Monte Ellis and Baron Davis and all these guys. Like, that's amazing.
That's a blast.
Like, that's amazing. I got
Yeah.
stories for days. Like,
Right,
you want
right.
to talk, like, stories, like, for days.
Right.
But nothing was more important than building that relationship with Rico, seeing him work every day. Our relationship is, we have fun. We got some great stories, too. But our relationship is about the work.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So when I'm looking there and I'm like, Steven Silas didn't just get this job with the Rockets by accident. Mm-hmm. He didn't just get it off, my dad is
Nope.
Paul Silas.
Nope.
It's about the work. It's not about the chatter and the talk and the look. And that's the direction that the majority is going in now.
Right.
But it's
Yes.
always going to be about the work. And like you said, I had no idea that kid was watching us every morning.
Yeah, every morning he was watching you. And now
no
he's in the
idea.
gym with you, which I love. And when he said that to me, I was like, oh, really? I was like, oh, I got to call C. Will.
Yeah.
So I did. And I told you it. I was so, I loved your reaction to that. And that's the one thing that I have to say is you meet a lot of people in this community, right? And a lot of people talk the talk, but not everybody walks the walk. And I have to say, from the second I've met you, you always have. And so I really appreciate that and respect that. And you're not loud, you're not flashy, but you're in the gym every single day.
And
Every day.
And that's where production comes.
Right.
Like, that's where you can be productive. Like, a lot of people, like, I'm big on studying. Last year, UCLA, I'm just walking around the practice facility, like, during the middle of Rico workouts. Like, we're having, like, a break in workouts. And I'm like, I'm going to watch. I need to go find something with John Wooden. The best quote of them all. Don't confuse activity with production.
Yep.
There's a lot of people, and we could just say, all right, basketball community, there's a lot of people active.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people active,
yeah.
like, I'm active. I'm
Yep.
active. The goal isn't to be active.
Right.
It's to be productive.
It's like, all right, well, all of my kids, you always going deep. Okay, well, how does that relate to life? Active is living, just up, blinking your eyes. Everyone's active. Does that mean you're productive? Does that mean you're making a living? Does that mean that you're able to provide because you're up? No. And the same thing goes with the ball, like you or anything. Like
you know, that's really interesting because I often talk about the fact that we're not really evolving because we spend a lot of our time just being busy, and then outside of our busy lives, I guess I don't want to say the system, but the market makes sure everything is easy, it's more accessible, everything is smoother, it's more comfortable. And through struggle and growth, we always talk about this all the time. Through struggle, you meet growth, right? But when you think about the idea of just being active, I think of people just being busy, right? And in that busyness, that's not necessarily production, right? You're not necessarily growing. You're just being busy. And most of the time, you're not being busy for a goal that you have.
Right.
You're being busy just to stay afloat.
Yeah.
You know, so when I hear that quote and I hear the way you're talking about it, that makes a lot more sense to me when you say that quote out loud, and it applies to life. And I think it's important that not only children hear that, but their parents, because there are a lot of parents who are addicted to making sure their kids are busy. And if they're busy, they feel like, well, your trajectory is aiming right for the NBA. But just because you're busy doesn't mean you're productive. So I like that a lot. That's interesting. Okay,
so I have a question. So this is a thing, a philosophy. We've talked about this on the show a lot. So, and you and I have even talked about energy, gut instinct. We've talked about elevation, right? And separation from the busy to the productive, right? And one of the other things that's a big thing for me, especially in year 2020, is leading with love. So I would love to hear how you apply all of that, your gut instinct, your elevation, your energy, and your love to your coaching.
Me and Rico, and I'm sorry for using him, but we've had a lot of, our relationship is much more than just training in basketball.
Right.
And we have this conversation often, and it's about pouring every single thing you can into what you're doing at that moment. And then your vibe and your feel like if you've been in the gym with me, and I honestly, I can't really tell because it's inside, but you see, like, once that vibe happens, it's like you're vulnerable you feel everything now. You know what I'm saying? So if a kid isn't on that same type of time, I'm like, whoa, time out. Like, that's not it. You got to fix that.
You got to
know
open
what I'm
up.
saying? You
got to
open up
to this
like,
experience.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is a different vibe. Like, this is different, and that's where special things happen at.
Yes.
That's when you get better.
We believe that growth is in the vulnerability.
It's in the vulnerability.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't understand that. That's why, like, even like we spoke, I don't market workouts with me. Like, yo, come work out with me. Come, because everybody don't have that energy.
Right.
Yep.
You got to somewhat seek this.
So the energy and the connection for you is just as important as the work ethic. Like, if there's no connection for you, then you're kind of like, all right, maybe you should work with somebody else.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Wow, you don't hear that a lot. You know, a lot of people are like, "Nah, I'm gonna get this cheese, and that's it."
Pretty much, because it's gonna hurt both of us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because as I'm going through that and I'm working with your children, I'm getting better.
Yeah.
That's the part of it a lot of people don't see.
Well,
If you're doing it right, you're supposed to be getting better as the
getting
coach
better.
and the teacher too.
And that's the thing. If you're willing to open yourself up and show up in that vulnerable place, if they're not willing to meet you, you really can't get any work done. You really you're not gonna elevate and grow together because one of you isn't really willing to do that. So you have to meet your match, right? Yeah. And I think that's really so amazing that you're so self-aware that way. And of course, it's no hard feelings or anything. It's just like, it's this.
No, it's.
I can't get you where you need to go. And sometimes that's good that they know that and you know that, and then they can find that right match, right? And then they can find what they need to be vulnerable, right? Yeah. So it's not even a bad thing; it's a great thing. But yes, I have seen you, and I also really like when you were able. I brought this example up to you before, but when you were able to work with the young one and an older one. and you stopped the whole practice and you're like, wait, I want to run that through again. And all of you little guys, I want you to come up here. I want you to pay attention. I want you to watch his footwork. I want you to watch how he carries himself, how he does this. Watch how he spins. So you had him do it a couple times, and they're all like this because they're like, he's 16 and he's so cool and he's so good at basketball. And so they're watching with like these huge eyes. But the fact that you were willing to take the time to do that, I loved that. I thought that was really great. And so you really are about, teaching.
It's the development.
Right.
It's a lost art, Lawrence, Aaron, because everything, like you said, has to be fast.
Yes.
It has to be. Development isn't that's not overnight. Like it's.
And there's no set pace.
There's no set pace. Like I love Nipsey Hussle. He gets me through every single day. It's a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
It's a marathon. The marathon continues. You see on most of my posts, I keep that marathon thing for
Yeah.
Nip, but also for me, because today might be a bad day. It might be a bad shooting day, yo.
Yeah.
I might miss everything.
Yep.
Does that mean it's over?
No.
You know what I mean? I might lose the game. All right, damn, we lost to Scanlon. Is it over? No, we back in the gym the next day. Like the marathon continues. You have to keep that.
I think this culture of highlight culture, YouTube culture, Instagram culture is, and we experienced this when we were at Hoops Showdown a year and a half ago, I think it was. Shout out to Hoops Showdown. Great, it was a great set of games. But somebody said, who was that? Was that Cha-Ching who said it? That people are afraid to get their butts whooped on camera,
Yes.
so they don't go hard. And it's like everybody's so concerned with their persona and their image.
But that's loser mentality.
It is.
Yes. That's
That's
not
loser mentality. Like you
And-
think about it.
that's not a growth mindset.
No, it's not.
That's a loser mentality because you know one thing we do at St. Ray's? We watch film. You know what doesn't lie? The film doesn't lie. It doesn't lie. And we watch it like on a screen right here, low Mac computer. Hey, we're going to watch it.
Yep.
But that's not you breaking down with each coach. Hey, listen, look how you guarded Chris Paul last night. Okay, so don't be mad when you don't play for 3-4 weeks. You understand what I'm saying? Because, you want to worry about that? Okay, cool. Worry about ESPN.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting in the car. I've been there before. Like, trust me, I've been there looking at that stat sheet with a very vulnerable 19-year-old, like, damn near in tears. Like, yo, why am I not playing? Yo, like, this is 4 games in a row. Look, 8 minutes. You missed 2 defensive assignments.
Right, that's important. Do you find that you're turned off by guys who, like, how do you handle popularity? Are you turned off by those guys that come in with a following? Like, what is?
I'm not turned off by it. I'm honestly afraid of it.
Tell me more about that.
I don't want to be the most popular. Not in this era.
No.
Because that means I'm bro to everybody. I'm fam to everybody. That's my guy to everybody. Everybody's posting me. Everybody's talking. No way, that's too much. Anybody that knows me, that is way, I don't want that.
You just want the
I
work.
want to be the respected one where they're like, yo, who? You working out with such and such? Or he called you to give you some advice, or he can't eat? Oh, man, that's good stuff. I don't like that popular stuff is like,
What does it mean?
It's a
Doesn't mean-
dangerous
yeah.
drug, though. Like, it's
It
a
is.
dangerous, it's a very dangerous drug. Like, it is
100%.
worse than drugs because once you feel like you're that guy, shoot, you
can systemize. You can what is it? Systematize yourself.
Yeah.
You can systematize yourself where now you have to produce the same thing over and over and over to get that reaction, to keep that following, to keep those people supporting you, and that's not it.
that's dangerous.
That's
man.
exhausting.
That's not it.
It's exhausting too.
But it also fills a big void in some people. And that's where it's like, it's that love, it's that energy, it's that, oh man, they love me. Like one of my favorite movies, right? Paid in Full.
Oh man.
Yo, I wonder if I leave the game,
Yeah.
They
the
still
fans
gonna
gonna still
They
love
still
me.
gonna love me.
I wonder if I leave the gram, are they still gonna love me?
So then let's talk clout. You've been around the NBA, you've been around the college game, you've been around high school, you've been around big name coaches, players, trainers, everybody. And now, with our sons are playing 12U now. I have the twins, she has Dylan, and rankings. right? Rankings for 7th graders. Shout out to Magic Mel, who just got ranked number 1 on one of his rankings.
Super dope.
Right?
Super dope.
Do the rankings matter in middle school?
I'll put it like this. I watched the draft. At the bottom, Jay Billis, top available. That's a ranking.
Okay.
Did all the teams draft the guys based off that ranking?
No, almost never.
Not at all.
There's a whole bunch of guys. You'd be like, Antonio Bellarani. And you're
Yeah.
like, he's not ranked.
Yep.
Oh, what? It's the ranking is, again, for, like, it works this way. Some people can use it as motivation. Some people can use it as motivation where it's like, you know what? Like, if you're a fighter, if you are a golfer, if you're a tennis, you want to be number 1 in the world.
Yeah.
But that's earned through wins
Work.
and losses,
Yeah.
not off of perception.
So then, all right, let's talk wins, losses. How about middle school kids that are winning chips? Does that matter on the way to the league?
Like I saw a post, right? And I'm very quiet. I read a lot. I see a lot of things. So it said, if you're looking for a middle school program, the first thing you need to look for is winning. That was the first thing. And I'm like,
No.
time out. The first thing when you take your kid to karate class is for him to win his first fight. The first thing
I like it.
you're looking for in a piano trainer is someone to teach him how to play Beethoven
Right.
right away. What do you, like?
No.
So you forget about the development word? Like that, like if you're a parent right now and you're in the middle school or elementary school, whatever, development trumps everything.
Yep.
Winning, if you have 5 kids that are older or more experienced on any age group from 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, those teams are going to win.
Yeah.
With you coaching, with me coaching, with you coaching, they're going to complain about your subs. They're going to complain about my subs. They're going to complain about your subs.
Right.
You're going to get mad at the refs. I'm going to get mad at the refs. You're good. But, all right, we're in the trap, get a few layups. Okay, cool, we won.
But what did we really do?
Create more bad habits.
Well, and here's the thing that it drives me crazy. If you're not going to put the time into development in elementary school and middle school and even when in high school, then when do you develop? Because you don't have time for that when you get to college. And if you want to play D1 or you want a scholarship and you want to go actually play ball, well, then you better develop now. You better make the mistakes. You better put the time in. You better look for the program that teaches all of the things that, we're talking about versus winning. Because
You're right.
it's and let's also talk about it's easy to win.
But it's
right?
not just the winning, Aaron. It's the part where it's like we're all parents, right? You see your child is struggling at something, but you just want them to get a B. Follow what I'm saying? You see your child is struggling with his writing for his essay going into high school. You're like, okay, you don't address it, but you want the A.
Right.
But what about developing those skills? Because the development is where the work happens. The work is where you have to get locked in and get into that space and commit to getting better.
Yeah, because
That's
once
hard.
once you get where you're fighting for, you got to show up. And I believe that strategy is a very privileged approach. Now, if I own my own company, I just need you to have certain papers or whatever. I don't care if you can do it or not. Once you get here, you can just sit pretty.
Yeah.
But if I don't, what am I doing? I'm setting you up for failure. You will get your butt whooped. So now wait, because I love what we got going on here. So I'm gonna pick your brain a little more.
All right.
Reclassing. How you feel about reclassing? Because we've now one of my shout out to CK Flano, one of our supporters, loyal supporters,
And friend.
Definitely a friend. He was like, at this point, when you got a kid like Magic Mel, by the time he gets where he's going, if he decides to reclass, right, you've got a professional kid playing against high
He did
schoolers.
reclass.
Did he?
I think so.
I'm not sure.
I think he was just. I think that was just an academic thing.
I'm not sure.
And I don't really want to dwell there. But
I thought he did. Okay, I
I'm
could
not
be
sure.
wrong. I'm sorry.
But this is the thing with reclass, right? And this is how I always flip the game, right? People talk to me, get to talk to me, I'm like, damn, his brain is all over the place. Who was worried about reclassing with the NBA draft? Was anybody saying, oh, I'm going to stay in school another year because we're not strong enough, we're not big enough yet? No, LaMelo is going to play with grown men. he's not worried about, reclassing, waiting another year. Like, no, guys are trying to reclassify up to get to their dream. I look at it as, and from my observation, it's a very addictive community, the grassroots community on the middle school. And high school is so different. I think some parents do it because they're like, damn, it's almost over. Like, and he's not where we thought he was going to be. So if we reclass him, he's automatically going to be better than the rest of those kids down there that he's stronger than, he's older than. And it's just like, to me, it started with the AAU programs.
Yep.
No knock on them, but, it helps some programs.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It
The
really
program.
helps some programs secure sponsorship, secure, the attention and, be able to compete. But it's
But
like...
does that help the kids?
So people asked me recently, they were like, are you going to reclass your twins? Because they would be beasts at the younger level. And I'm like, here's the thing. And this is what a lot of people know about me and some people don't know about me. My twins are decent at basketball. I don't show a lot of highlights. I'm just not into it. They're amazing brain-wise. They are sharp brain-wise. They can tell you the difference between the soul and the constructed self. They can tell you the difference between lie and lay. Like, why would I want them to then go back and redo a school year for a sport that one of the twins, I don't even think he wants to play beyond high school.
But that'll be for you.
Exactly.
That'll be for the parent. That's not for, like,
That's not for me.
It's very few
I mean,
kids
that's not for
I can
him.
see going home. And I had experience with one. He was like a bug out. I'm like, yo, he really went home and was like, I'm failing everything. I want to reclass and do the grade. I'm like,
What?
I'm not interested in this guy. Like,
Yeah.
once he did that, I was like, what?
That's
like,
crazy.
And mom was on the phone with me like, yeah, he's really saying he's failing everything so he could reclass and play with such and such. And I'm like,
Wow.
sorry, man, but
That's not what
you
I
know,
do.
Like, that's like, no, thank you. But, what it does is it makes you feel like there's always an out. And as we know as adults, you run
There's
into
not.
certain walls and barriers that you have to face. You know what I'm saying? You have to face it.
That's so good. And that's
You have to face it.
that's so
Sooner or later,
Like, the
right?
reality is, like, basketball is more competitive than it's ever been.
Yeah. Even though they're not outside like they used
Even
to
though they're
be.
not outside, but as far as the amount of people playing, not just nationally, but globally,
Oh yeah, for sure.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's so competitive where it's like, if you're not really fully committed to this, people are going to catch up to you.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is you're going to meet that reality wall where it's like, oh, I could just do another year. And then you go to college. And then we got, 700-800 transfers on average every
Oh,
year.
man.
Yeah.
Like, why?
It's crazy.
But
Crazy.
that's because that's a byproduct of
Yep.
what's going on down there where you're just so used to, like, okay, I got to get out.
Yep.
I can't fight through it anymore.
So if you're making, because you've been there through the recruiting process, you've been there through the college visits, which I would like to touch upon, which we would like to touch upon, excuse me. If you were building your ideal kid, when would you have this kid start playing ball competitively?
Well, my son is 3. He'll be 4 next month. And he's been, you said competitively. He's been introduced to it from day one. Like,
Right. Right.
But competitively, it depends on what you're saying competitively. Like, because nowadays there's like competitive where me and you can start a tournament. Hey, we're starting the C-Will and L tournament.
Yep.
And that'd be competition, but that's not really competitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where you're like really
an
tight.
in-house.
Yeah, like an
Yeah.
in-house thing. And it's a lot of that going on now. But like competitively, like on a national level, I would say you would want to start young, like maybe 3rd, 4th grade, just for that experience, that national experience, because that helps. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the kids growing up playing 3rd, 4th, 5th. Oh, we played against them. I remember this kid.
Yeah.
But mentally as a parent, I wouldn't really start to think of it like that competitively until like 7th grade.
So how often should my son be playing at 3rd and 4th grade or 5th and 6th grade? How often should I be in the gym? Should they be in the gym every day, training and practicing?
They should be training, developing, watching the game.
That's key.
Like, not just on the TV, but taking them to games. Like, and letting it be known that this right here is just beginners. Like, this doesn't matter. Like, if
Yeah.
you're, okay, so what? That kid is faster than you. He can make left-hand, right-hand layups. Okay, like, that's Let's develop. Let's build. Let's get there and see if they really want to play.
Yes.
At the end of the day, like I look at some kids in like these little practices, and I'll be like, you don't look like you really happy to be here.
Ditto. Agreed.
But mom and dad is over
want
there
you
like,
here.
yo,
Yeah,
tighten
going
up.
crazy.
What's
And
wrong with you?
Some of them go crazy, and you watch and you're like, "Are you paying attention?"
Yeah,
It's sad. That's sad. But I think overall, everything that we're saying, I think all three of us is it's so much bigger than the game. There's so many life lessons here
Yeah, man.
that are so important, and it's not just basketball. It could be whatever game you're playing. But really, I think everybody's always looking, especially these days in social media culture and cancel culture, we're looking for the easiest route, the way out, the way to make ourselves look better but not work as hard. And I think as much as you try to escape that, it will haunt you and it will catch up to you.
We
and
forget we're raising kids, though. At the end of the day, you're raising a child.
right.
like you're raising
You know what I mean?
kids. Like that's why, like in my workouts, right? Like you go, like it's team. Like we're team building.
Yep.
We work in a circle. Like you know what I mean? Like I've
Yep.
been a middle school dean, a high school dean. One thing you deal with, like, is classroom management.
Yes.
You manage the court
Yeah.
as one. You understand? You set a goal, a
Yep.
quota. What's our quota? What are we working towards? Why are we running? You understand what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like,
Yep.
like so you have to understand that it's a process. It's not easy. Don't get caught up in that camera, that phone, and all, because all of that stuff, it goes away, and that's something that's hard. Like I see adults now, they struggle with. It's not post-traumatic, but it's like post-I'm lit syndrome. Like once your litness
It's true.
goes away, like
It's
there's like
true.
they don't even want to come outside no more.
Yeah.
Like you be like, yo, like even some people be like, yo, I ain't see you. Well, I'm not hot no more. Like, so I don't have,
Wow.
and that's sad to see
Yeah.
sometimes because
No, you need to find that validation and self-love internally, not externally. And when you look for it externally,
Oh,
this
please.
is where we go wrong.
You're
and we could
doomed.
talk about that
especially
forever.
if you're trying to be a ball player.
Right.
Like if you're really trying to play at the
Right.
highest levels, you have got to be cool with separating yourself,
Yep.
locking in,
Yep.
and just saying, you know what? It's not about the outsiders right now. I got my
Exactly.
headphones on. I'm locked in.
Yeah.
Well, is that what the coaches? What were the college coaches looking for when they were recruiting? Like you've been on that. We're running low on time. Okay, all right. But I do want to get this question in, and then
Yes,
what were the college coaches looking for in your players when they were recruiting?
Well, it depends on what college.
Okay.
To be honest
Right.
with you. Like,
Okay.
it depends on what college. There's some colleges that are looking for, I want a guy that's a big name. There's
Yeah.
some colleges that are saying, I want a good family. Like, right now, like, the real good programs, they need a good family. They need a great person on and off the court. Because there's a lot going on right now, social media-wise and different things like that, where you have to know how to conduct yourself when the lights aren't on.
Wow.
Because they're always on.
Yes.
So that's very important.
Yep.
Okay.
Somebody that's really a worker. You know what I mean? Because in college, like, you really have to put that extra work in.
Yeah.
You really have to put that extra work in. And somebody that's about team. There's a lot of kids that people be like, yo, he's good enough to go to Kansas
Yep.
and Kentucky. And I'm like, yo, he can't make nobody better.
Yeah.
But then I might sound like a hater, like, oh, see, Will, that's wrong. Time out. If you can't, I'm a UConn guy, Jim Calhoun. If you can't make nobody better, you can't play for no Jim Calhoun.
Exactly.
Kansas, you cannot play for Coach Self if you can't make guys better.
Right.
Duke, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir.
Coach K,
Yep.
and I told this to the kids I worked out with the other day. Coach K has a military background. How do you think his practices is running?
Exactly.
Please, we are
Like
a
the
unit.
park?
We are
Yeah.
a unit.
Like a unit.
Yep.
Like as one.
Well, and that speaks so much to the development, right? Because the development, all of the work that you're putting in, and when you lock in, there is a physical development, there is a mental development, there's an emotional development, there's a spiritual development, there's a soulful development. If you're not tapping into all of those levels, when you get to a Coach K or a Bill Self or a Calhoun, you will crumble and you will fall and you will beg for the transfer because you're not going to be able to be there. So this is why the development is so important, and it's on so many different levels.
It's more than physical.
Right. It's so much. I think it's more mental even
it
than
is.
it is
It is.
physical.
Now it
and
is much more.
emotionally too. And now, like you're saying, I don't care. There's a lot of good ball players.
Yeah.
There's a ton of good, talented kids out there. are you a good person?
That
Are you going to show up? Or am I going to see you? So perfect example, right? Like we just had D'Souza leave Kansas. And as soon as I saw that announcement, I go, well, red flags went flying when the dude picked up a chair, a stool, so something's going on. So I knew instantly. So then, of course, a day or two later, he has assaulted someone, right?
Yeah.
So these are the types of things that if we're not working through and we're not developing character throughout all of this, you're going to find yourself in situations like that where
You're
it's
miss
not
out on opportunities.
exactly.
Yes.
And so this is why, again, we go back to development, and it's not just about the physical development, and it's not about your talent and athleticism. It's not about how great you are on the court. We are now looking for a well-rounded individual, especially now with social media always being on. What are you doing at the party on Friday night? How are you treating the women that you're around? What are you doing? Whose car is that? Where did you get that?
Yeah.
Who are you? Who do you spend your time with? How
I'll give you a quick one. I know we're running out of time. So when I was in Dallas, I had a chance to spend some time around Larry Brown. Good friend of mine, Jurg Malagy, was an assistant. So one of the stories Coach Brown told me was how when he was working with the Pistons, he would send the equipment manager to go pick up the players from the airport that they were bringing in for the draft to work out,
To see how they would treat him.
to see how they would
love
treat
it.
him.
That's beautiful.
I
To see how they
love
would
that.
treat
I
him.
would do that.
To see what type of conversations they're having in the car.
I love that.
Oh man, he was arguing with his girl the whole time. Da-da-da. That's an investment.
That is an investment. We can't put our money into somebody that's a loose cannon, somebody that doesn't treat people well. I got you. Listen, Chris.
We got to do this again. We have
are-
so much more to talk about.
You
We didn't
are
even get to
wealth-
half of the things on our list.
A deep
I
wealth
know.
of knowledge.
I must talk a lot. That's
No,
my bad.
you.
No.
You are awesome, and I'm sure our parents that listen, some of the players, my sons are going to listen to this. They actually
dope.
said they couldn't wait to hear it because it was going to be all basketball, and I told them I was going to pick your brain because this guy is super professional, and you did not disappoint.
No, I appreciate that.
We are proud to have you on the show. We're very grateful for you to take the time and sit with us, and we would love for people to know where they can find you and just look you up and keep up with you. I know you don't need the popularity.
Yeah, no. But thank you for having me, though.
yes,
I
of
appreciate
course.
it. I really
You know
appreciate
that.
it.
How can
You
people
guys-
keep up with you?
You can follow me on Instagram, CWILL_player development.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook under Chris Williams, and I'll be around.
And let me
I'm around.
and I am going to give my stamp of approval. Not that my opinion matters all that much, but I have to say I am a huge fan of Seawill. I am so fortunate that my son has the opportunity to work with you, and I'm so grateful to even to be able to call you a friend. So
appreciate
I
that.
thank you so much for being here. I really, really, really do. I think that. I always enjoy our conversations. I always feel like I learn so much, and I'm so thankful that you're in this community and you're willing to share your knowledge with all of us. And we definitely will do this again
No, we
for
have
sure.
to. What you guys are doing is great.
Oh,
It's
thank
great.
you so
I
much. We appreciate
it.
it. So we always end our show with a quote, and it is Lawrence's turn.
Yeah,
So.
I wrote this for this show. I did it all by myself as well.
Oh my goodness! Here we go.
It says childhood is often the cushion that an adult will fall back on emotionally and mentally when times get difficult. Even if you can't love a kid, let her or him have a childhood. There's plenty of rough road ahead already. So that's the quote.
Very true.
Nice.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks again.
No, thank you guys.
Thank you. This is awesome. And please tune in for the next episode of Beyond the Journal.
Oh my goodness. All right.
It's a wrap.
It is a wrap.
It's over.
Yo, fucking
no.
awesome.